Welcome, everyone. Truth in the Barrel Live. I'm Amy McGrath.
I'm in a mood. I'm in a mood. I'm in a mood. I'm Denver Riggleman. Listen, I know we're supposed to wait to. I'd already taken a couple sips of our 4-grain bourbon, and I'm just in a mood. I'm in a mood. But go ahead. Yes, it's good to see you.
So it's good to see you. And before we have a lot to get through, but tell us all what you're drinking.
I am drinking our 4-grain. So my wife, I dared her, just like with the honey rye, we did a 4-grain where we blended our single barrel, right? Wheated bourbon. And we said, well, can we find a rye bourbon to do a 4-grain? So you're talking about, so let me explain this, Amy. So obviously me and you know, because we're aficionados and experts on bourbon, that bourbon is over 51.
I just like to drink it.
Yeah. Well, that makes you an expert, Amy. So 51%, right? You have to be 51% corn, right? To have a bourbon, right? There's age limits, barrel type of stuff. I can go to all the federal definitions, but it has to be over 51% corn. Most bourbons, the middle is either whiskey. I'm sorry, it's all whiskey, is either wheat or rye. So my wife makes a wheated sweet mash bourbon. What if we blended with a rye sweet mash bourbon? And that's our 4-grain. So it has corn, wheat, rye, and malted barley. 4-grain bourbon, 92 proof, age between 3 and 6 years. You know, we can only use the youngest age, right? But my God, the way she blends a whiskey. So now we have our single barrel with MGP rye whiskey, and we blended it. So that's what I'm drinking tonight.
Okay.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Very good.
Yeah.
Well, I'm drinking Bernheim Original Kentucky Straight Wheat Whiskey.
Okay. It's wonderful.
So this, and I'm learning all about this thanks to you. But it is called a wheat whiskey because it has over 50% of wheat as the primary ingredient. Okay. So it has corn and barley as a secondary ingredient. That's why it can call itself a wheat whiskey, as you know. And also what's interesting about this is it's aged for 7 years. So they see that they mark it, you know, and I don't honestly. So like, you tell me, Denver, like, does it matter how long it's been aged?
Oh, it does, really ma'am. It does. Now, so there's a lot of schools of thoughts here, right? And yes, it matters, especially younger whiskeys aren't going to be to that area. When you're looking at all the sugar transfers and things like that in the barrel, you want to make sure that it's right. Now, the issue is, Amy, 7 years is a really nice sweet spot. If you think in Maker's Mark, if my memory is probably not perfect, they're so good at hitting the sweet spot that they barrel, I think, between 6 3/4 and 7.5 years or something like that. The issue that you have, like a Pappy Van Winkle, I love their 20-year. They're 23 years age too long. It's too tanniny and too woody for me. I'm more of a 20-year Pappy Van Winkle. But for us, our sweet spot for our whiskey is usually between 5 and 8, where we're like, holy crap, we found. But we also found that sometimes even at the 5 or 6, it's not ready, or it's starting to get to the point where like we need to barrel that. So Bernheim, which I am a huge fan. What a pull tonight. What a pull, Amy McGrath. Bernheim was our model to make our own silverback wheat whiskey, which was a bestseller when we were making it. It's a little bit more difficult to make because of the enzyme stuff we got to do with the wheat whiskey. But 7-year Bernheim, they've sort of found that sweet spot. Bernheim's going to be a little bit of a sweeter whiskey because because it doesn't have, a rye filler, stuff like that. And wheat usually makes it a bit of a sweeter whiskey. I love Bernheim. The fact that you would pick a Bernheim, and
it's good.
It's so good. I tell you,
they distill it in Louisville apparently, and then it's bottled down in Bardstown. So you know all this, but it's very good.
Ma'am. I also like the way they age. They're smart. We built these big rick houses in Bernheim. I think that they stack their barrels in connexes. So I mean, it's really just one on top of the other. It's hot. It's awesome. If I remember correctly with Bernheim, I hope I'm not getting them mixed up with another distiller. I'm sorry. I've been to so many freaking barrel houses in my life, but yeah, the fact that you pulled a Bernheim tonight lets me know your brilliance. Cheers. That is a great pull.
Cheers. And we need
wheat
it.
Whiskeys are fantastic. We do.
Because we have a lot to get through here.
I am in a mood.
Now, before we do though, I want to make sure that everybody is, let's see, you got to follow us on YouTube. Instagram, right? I mean, you
Oh, you know,
have to follow us, Denver.
if you're not following us, you're a loser. So here's where you need to go. You need to you need to go to YouTube. You need to subscribe there. You need to make sure you follow on all our socials. Amy was even brave enough to sign us up to True Social. But especially, right, you need to make sure that you download your favorite podcast. I don't care if it's Spotify. I don't care if it's Apple. Go get us. And right now, Amy, I will tell you, our podcast is doing pretty damn well. So
Yeah, and for the live shows, you can go on YouTube and you can ask us questions, right? In our Ask
yes.
Us Anything portion. So that's like the fun part of the live show. So, be prepared to do that tonight. Switch over, ask us some questions, and we'll do our best.
Yeah,
Let's get started.
and I love. And by the way, didn't you come up with that? Ask us a question, because I think it's a bit brilliant.
I think
I mean, are people
ChatGPT
paying
came up with
attention?
it, but
Good. Well, what's great about it, I think somebody like ask us. No, it's Cask Us, a cask,
Ask us.
K-A-S-K,
Yeah.
Cask Us a question, and that's because we're truth in the barrel, Amy. And I'm very
Amen.
excited to be here
All
tonight.
right, so I want to start out with the news of the day today. When there's a lot of it, we're going to get to the luxury jet that Trump just accepted from the Middle East, and all kinds of stuff, firings at the National Security Agency, and that sort of thing. But the Epstein stuff. So, yeah.
I'm in the
So I
mood.
guess so for those people that are kind of new to this, and what happened today, I guess in the last 24 hours, Trump was asked about the Epstein stuff, and he made some what I think are very disturbing comments about it when he was asked about a young woman whose name is Virginia. I'm going to butcher her last name, Geoffrey. She was very young, 16 years old, when she was victimized by Jeffrey Epstein and his group of people that did that. And Donald Trump was asked about her, and he basically said that we'll play the audio here, but that he was mad at Epstein because Epstein stole her and was stealing help. He called help from Mar-a-Lago.
So, Mr. President, Epstein has a certain reputation, obviously. I'm just curious, were some of the workers that were taken from you, were some of them young women?
Were some of them
young women?
Well, I don't want to say, but everyone knows the people that were taken. And it was the concept of taking people that work for me is bad. But that story's been pretty well out there. And the answer is yes, they were.
Yes, they were young women.
What did they do? In the spa.
In the spa.
Yeah, people that work in the spa. I have a great spa, one of the best spas in the world at Mar-a-Lago. And people were taken out of the spa, hired by him. In other words, gone. And other people would come and complain, this guy is taking people from the spa. I didn't know that. And then when I heard about it, I told them, I said, listen, we don't want you taking our people, whether it was spa or not spa. I don't want him taking people. And he was fine. And then not too long after that, he did it again. And I said, out of here.
Mr. President, did one of those stolen, persons that include Virginia Jeffrey?
I don't know. I think she worked at the spa. I think so. I think that was one of the people. Yeah. He stole her. And by the way, she had no complaints about us, as you know. None whatsoever.
Denver, what you got?
Layers. Like I said, I'm in a mood. So here's the thing. So he admitted that he knew that Epstein was taking girls, number one. Number two, this is what gets me. Hey, everybody. Yeah, he was taking girls. I warned him not to take girls, but if you're ever going to traffic girls, it's out of the best spa. The best spa is at Mar-a-Lago. You should see the tile work there. I tell you what, if you're going to traffic girls, that's where you traffic them out of. You traffic them out of Mar-a-Lago. What the hell is that? It's this rambling, sort of layered not only awareness of what Epstein was doing, it says this also. And Amy, I know that, we like to use the common sense shit hammer here, so I'm going to use it really quick. So he said he really didn't have that much of a relationship with Epstein, right? We talked about the Epstein files that he ran on and the Epstein list that obviously is being hidden right now, or it's being redacted or changed by them when they're saying that Biden, Obama changed it. It's ludicrous. But he admitted to a long-standing relationship. Epstein utilized his spa, utilized the girls in his spa. Of course, it was the best, biggest, beautiful spa, that people were actually being trafficked out of. And he said eventually, hey, that's enough. You can traffic girls, but don't traffic them out of Mar-a-Lago, right? Even though I know that you've already stolen a few of them, stolen or taken some of the girls.
Yeah.
These are girls. And by the way, it's rape, right, is what they're talking about here. So he's lightly and glibly validating his very, very connection with Epstein while trying to sell the best spa in the world at Mar-a-Lago. It's so insane, so brazen, so grotesque, so ludicrous, so stupid, so moronic, so evil that anybody with their right mind in the media right now, Amy, would be saying, oh, so he did have a long-standing relationship with Epstein and he did know about the trafficking.
Well, yeah, I mean, that's what this leads me to believe, that he definitely knew about what Epstein was doing, and he was kind of okay with it. He was only mad when they took some of his girls, and because he says that it didn't just happen once. He implies that it happened over and over again. And so the language that he uses is very disturbing to me. When he uses words like stealing, it's almost like these young girls are his property, And the other thing that you talked about, and I want to make sure everybody knows, this particular individual that they're talking about, who was a victim, was 16 years old. So when she was, quote, stolen, she was 16. Now, why would a 16-year-old be working at a spa?
Dang it, that's right.
In Mar-a-Lago.
That's where. So when you were talking there, I'm like, do I bring that right? So we now have validation that there were underage girls being used for massages at Mar-a-Lago. So is that what you're saying? If you think about, that's why I think I'm in a mood, because now you have a media that's complicit through their own inability to damage their own access because they don't have the talent or they're not incentivized properly. And I'm saying that very loosely, to say, hey, wait a minute. So there were underage girls working as masseuses at Mar-a-Lago? Go. How does that happen? What's the hiring process for young girls doing massages? And by the way, what type of massages were given at Mar-a-Lago? It's so easy. It's so baseball batish, right? There's no reason why anybody with an IQ above moron can't do a follow-on question about a president who just admitted a long-standing relationship with a pedophile who was stealing underage girls out of the very
and then
that he
the other thing we didn't play was his language regarding, oh, I didn't have the privilege of going down to the island. Was that supposed? I mean, Trump supporters, those of you who are watching, who are out there, was that a joke? Like the mega was that a joke? Because I don't know. I mean, I didn't have the privilege of going to that island where they raped and molested young girls. Like, seriously, it's just sick.
It's sick. And I think, listen, people can say, well, Denver, the argument is this, right? Well, Denver, the working age in Florida is 14. Okay. First of all, interesting. It's Florida. Second, I'm not even going to. You know what? I'm in a mood, and
I get you. You could be a lifeguard, okay? You can be a soccer referee. I got it. Like the you can work, right? But that's work. But let's talk about us work in a spa. Seriously,
in a spa. And what are you doing? You have hands on flesh, right? Are you in a bikini? Are you in a bathing suit? Right. And I think also what it is, Amy, is that I think people are really afraid to ask those questions specifically for a lot of reasons, right? First of all, the answer is going to be brutal. There's no way around it. If there's a 16-year-old female who was trafficked and taken, right, and her hands are on males as a young girl in a massage parlor, really what it is at Mar-a-Lago, how do you answer that question? Like, do you say, well, and here's the first thing that Donald Trump would say. I'm a Donald Trump whisperer, right? I can go into a complete moron stance, right, as I do this. But the first thing you say, well, I didn't hire him. Well, so you don't know what's going on in your own mansion?
Right.
How do you know what's going on in the country? How do you know that there's not pedophiles running around everywhere right now if you don't know it? Like, there's no way out of these questions if you had a press willing to answer the right questions.
Yeah. Oh, and you're going to have people, oh, she was probably just handing out towels. Yeah. Okay. Whatever. Here's
Well,
the
I
other
guess
thing
a
I
lot
wanted
of
to
them are
ask you.
handing out towels.
Yeah.
There's a lot
Here's
of
the
them.
other thing I wanted to ask you. So this immunity, the woman, Maxine, I'm going to butcher her name. Help
Ghislaine
me out here.
Maxwell?
Thank you. Yes. Thank you. Who's in jail right now, who's part of the Epstein problem. She's a criminal. She's sick. And did all of these things to all of these young women. She is saying she won't talk to Congress or to the public unless she's granted immunity or President Trump pardons her. So, what do you think?
Listen, Comer just said that he wasn't going to do that at this point, which surprised me. As we both know Comer, right?
For
if
now.
people don't know in the overs for now. That's exactly where I was. Yep, for now. So Comer said he wasn't going to give her immunity at this time, which is so interesting. You already had known that that's exactly what he would say. He's going to wait till Trump tells him what to do. And that's what I'm trying to tell people, right? That he's waiting for Trump to tell him what to do in this situation. I think, though, you get to a point, and people said Trump's untouchable. If they voted for him before, they're going to vote for him, Amy. It's really, really hard. You're getting to a point that he's lied about so much on this front that people are thinking he's a pedophile. And I think that's what
it just reeks of corruption. Like, seriously, she's gonna tell the truth now that she's pardoned, and somehow if she says, "Oh, Trump didn't have anything to do with it," we're supposed to believe that? Of course she's gonna say Trump didn't have anything to do with it. She just got pardoned. That's the deal. Like, it's right in front of us.
Well, she already got lit up for perjury, right? So you got to remember, this is a person who's a pathological serial rapist and child trafficker. Let me just say some of those words again. Serial rapist and child trafficker. I saw that you needed to take another drink, Amy, and I agree. Yeah. So this is who you're dealing with, and somebody who's already perjured herself. Why are we revisiting this? There's only one reason. Trump has to find an angle because he's on the list. We already know it. He has to say it. Not only that, he's already now admitted to a longstanding relationship. So now you got these building blocks, because even if you're an inveterate liar, you're a pathological liar like Trump, who automatically comes up with the lowest hanging fruit lie, and then they try to spin out of it, almost like a vortex of stupid. I mean, it's like H.P. Lovecraftian levels of stupid, right? It's just, there's no words, but that's what's happening.
Wait for Trump to say, my name was planted.
Well, he already did.
Okay.
By the way, he's already said his name has been planted in the files by Biden, because Biden, although completely senile and not knowing where he was all the time, was aware enough to pull off the biggest, right, deep state operation by planting specific names in the Epstein files, keeping them quiet for 4 years just so they're released while Trump is president to enhance and maximize the damage. And by the way, that's what people believe. I know people watching us like, Denver, that was brilliant that you came up with that. No, that's what people believe. That's what a crazed, conspiratorial, breathless, moronic mind comes up with. And I just did that. So what does that say about me, Amy? But so, I mean, so that's, it says a lot. It says a lot, right? So anyhow, I mean, I think with Ghislaine Maxwell, I don't know why. And then, I saw news doing normal reporting today. So, I was looking at this before and they're like, and Ghislaine Maxwell has asked for immunity for her testimony about the child activities that were going on at the Epstein Ranch. We think that maybe that this could happen. And if so, we will report on it later and see what Ghislaine Maxwell has to say about the
Mhm.
sordid rapes that were happening
Yeah.
under her watch.
Yeah, we're
you know?
back zapping ourselves to Tom Brokaw back from 30 years ago. As if,
Do you like the
as if
silky
this is
smooth?
normal.
Why am I not an anchor? Why am I not a national?
I mean, it's not
news anchor?
normal. We're laughing, but it's so
It's brutal.
sad and sick. But I there's a couple other things, a couple other issues or things that are happening this week that I wanted to get your take on. Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
So today, did you know this, Denver? Our president, Donald Trump, said that he solved 6 wars and that he was averaging solving a war per month since being in office, including wars that have lasted for 500 years. He solved them. Did you know that?
I didn't. Which,
Yeah.
so I'm guessing, Amy, is the 500-year war he's talking about in Gaza and Israel, or is he talking about the longstanding tribal wars in Eastern Europe?
I don't know, but he solved them. He solved them
Right.
just like he won those 20-some golf championships. I mean, he did it.
God, I wish Doug had the ball drop. Actually, did you see that, Amy?
Yeah,
Where his caddy
I
took
did.
the ball out of
And
the
you know
rough
what's
and dropped
interesting
it in the
about
better
that?
lie?
If you guys see that, go online and take a look. So the caddy drops the ball, and Donald Trump sees the ball being dropped, and he walks towards it, and then looks around as if trying to find the ball that he just saw dropped.
He just saw it being dropped by his caddy.
Hilarious. Oh,
I mean, that's really sums up Donald Trump in a nutshell, right? And
oh
but yeah, I mean, I think that's we have so many things going on where now he's saying such outlandish things that it's almost like this huge smokescreen. When Steve Bannon said flood the zone with shit, I think he knew exactly what he was talking about. But Trump does it naturally. I mean, he produces, I would say, bloviating shit missiles on a level that a lot of us can't imagine. And I think he does it so naturally because he's deranged. And that's where we're at right now. We have a pathological guy who cheats at golf, ran women out of Mar-a-Lago, it seems, based on his own words, and had a longstanding relationship with a pedophile and is considering maybe a pardon of Ghislaine Maxwell, who's a serial rapist and perjurer.
yeah.
So he's had a bang up week.
And I know we talk a lot about this stupidity of unfortunately our current president and all of these things, but there's some real bad stuff going on that could hurt our national security. And just yesterday, the top lawyer for the National Security Agency was fired. And there's no real reason to have fired her other than these conservative activists, Laura Loomer, these conspiracy theorists don't like this person. And so they're getting rid of it. And remember, the commander and the deputy of the National Security Agency were fired earlier this year. Why is this important? This is our top cybersecurity law expert in the country working for us. And, I don't know who they're going to replace this person with, but I'm every time I see this, it's scary to me.
Well, Tim Hawk, who was the NSA director that was let go, I'd met, and one of the most capable individuals I had ever met. I think when you're looking at the people that he's putting in positions of power and listening to, and you mentioned Laura Loomer, who was at the State Department after they let go of the 12 or 1,300 employees. She was there allowed to put in her 2 cents about the direction of the country. And Laura Loomer is the only person who did get ear leakage from 5G, I mean, she's insane. So I think when you're looking at the individuals he's choosing, like RFK Jr., Tulsi Gabbard, Pete Hegseth, Sean Duffy, right? And I served with Sean on the Financial Services Committee. And obviously, he's blaming Pete Buttigieg for windmill accidents now. I think what you're saying is people put in positions of power that have the same conspiratorial, narcissistic, sociopathic, credulous traits as their leader. And it worries me that if I go back to University of Virginia in 1997, 1998, I had a fantastic professor who talked about this socialist philosopher who mentioned the little Stalin theory, and that the people underneath of the leader were worse than the leader because they were continually trying to impress the leader. They were more vicious, more vile, more violent. And I think that's what you're saying, is that the people that are being appointed, for those that are fired, the competent and the true Americans that are being fired, these are people that are worse even than Trump because they're willing to follow such a vile human being. That means the end of our country is actually a possibility. And I know people are like, oh God, Dan, that's crazy. But what are we seeing right now? We're seeing this flat spin. And you as a pilot, you know what that means. How do we get out of a flat spin when you have somebody who's never flown a plane flying it?
Yeah.
Amy, you are a talented, experienced, brilliant aviator. I know a flat spin would scare you. What happens when somebody who doesn't know how to fly a plane is the pilot in a flat spin? And that's where we're right now. We're in a flat spin with people who've never flown a plane.
Yeah. Well, for those people who are listening, Denver, tell people what is the National Security Agency anyway? I mean,
Oh,
what does
sure.
it do?
I would love to talk about the National Security
Just,
Agency. The National
wave
Security
tops.
Agency.
It sounds important.
Oh,
It is important.
yes.
But
Let me do wave
you work
tops. You're
there.
right. I did. So the NSA is the Signal Intelligence Authority for the United States, called SIGINT. They also do COMINT. They do ELINT. So COMINT is, communications intelligence, ELINT, electronic intelligence. But they also fuse that intelligence with other types of intelligence, like human intelligence, things like that. So break, wave tops. Sorry, Amy. What NSA does is they collect signals, right, within the specific spectrums. They can be hardwire or electromagnetic. They can be certain types of things, right, across a wide spectrum. But NSA collects signals intelligence. Intelligence is an important word. That signals intelligence is provided because it's a combat service agency to warfighters around the world based on their authorities to do intelligence preparation on the battlefield or targeting in the electronic spectrum. So that's what NSA does. I'm going to be very, very general, but that's what NSA does.
Mhm. And it has a lot of capabilities. And,
Yes.
to have somebody, we need to have competent
I don't know how far I
people.
should go.
Yeah.
Yes.
You don't need to go far. It has a ton of capability for our country. And it needs to have a leader that not only understands those capabilities, but understands that they need to be used for our country and not for political purposes or anything else. And I'm that's the worry that I have with this current administration.
Well,
Especially firing the longstanding, competent, experienced civil servants.
so if you think about NSA, is a big part of the FISA program, right? And the Foreign Intelligence Surveillance Act. And when you look at FISA, right, that's when we have foreign individuals doing nefarious activities in the United States. FISA allows us to bridge foreign and domestic authorities, where domestic law enforcement can look at people engaging in foreign activities here. That is already a very controversial program, Amy, for a lot of people. Now imagine, and you're trying to do it with integrity or ethics, and it's already had issues. What if you have crazy people being able to utilize those huge resources for nefarious activities?
Yeah, it's a very thin line to walk. We have these capabilities. We also have, as Americans, First Amendment rights, rights to privacy, that sort of thing. So it's like one of these contentious issues, folks, where how much do you want government to be able to spy on Americans? It's like this constant debate. No, of course, your first thought is no. Of course, I don't want government. However, if we have knowledge that somebody's planning a terrorist attack, somebody's coordinating with a foreign entity that's planning a terrorist attack, we are going to look, and we're going to you as a common sense American would want to say, you know what, why don't we use our ability to stop that? And so that's where the rub is. And you need people in charge of that particular agency that have a loyalty to the Constitution and have a loyalty to to this country and to have some ethics. And I think, firing people because the far right doesn't like them is, to me, a little scary.
It's terrible. And the people that you're hiring decide to shoot videos of them riding wild horses and talking about their Argentinian mounts, right? And some weird Yellowstone cosplaying, insane, right? Nutter, narcissistic way of doing things. Look at
So
this
you have
crap.
to tell people what that is, because
That is Kristi Noem riding her Argentinian steed during her Corey Lewandowski trip overseas.
This is our
in her
Secretary
hat.
of Homeland Security, folks. She's
Look at
hanging
what is-
out, riding horses in Argentina, and using her official account to.
Look at this.
I
Doug,
guess.
can we play this on a
tell
loop
us
the
all
whole
about it.
show? I just want to make up a country song to it, right? Riding my horse over the plains. I'm trying to help America take away these illegal stains. I'm on my steed. It's what I need.
Honestly, Denver,
Did you like
to
that?
move on
Ralph?
from your great singing, if she's over there riding horses, she's not doing stupid shit stuff here. So okay.
Super hot, interesting stuff. Super interesting.
All right.
Well, it's actually, what is it? Just super hot, interesting. What is the T again? Look, I've already had way too much foregrain as we're getting into this, That's why I can sing so well.
Let's get to our Ask Us Anything, because that's the coolest part of this whole
Let's
thing.
do it. I wonder, I think people are sort of afraid to ask us questions because we're such geniuses, we're so good at what we do.
I'm going to pour myself another little bit more
before we get to the questions, right? And it could be that we've done so well that people are just afraid, to pop up, and to ask us anything. But I was, I'm sorry about the song. I just want to apologize to everybody right now that I have a lot of talent that I haven't allowed to come out of my life, and it's very suppressed.
Well, you could go on one of those shows, America Got Talent, or whatever the heck it is. America Has Talent. I don't even know.
Is there a show that America has no talent? Like, is there a show at the Gong Show? I bet that was it. Hey, Doug, can we show? Here's Kristi Noem again. I don't know if that's something.
I really want to see her again.
Can we?
All right.
Ride my horse.
All right. To ask us a question, just leave a comment. You got to be on YouTube to be able to do that. So leave a bunch of comments, and
we're supposed to tell people what to do. I'm sorry.
We'll start taking a look at them here. And look, the other thing that President Trump did this week was sign an acceptance of the luxury jet that he is getting from the government of Qatar. Totally corrupt in my mind, but this is where we're at.
So I don't know if you know this about my past, but I worked for an activity that retrofitted domestic and foreign aircraft if they were allies with chaff and flare or with other types of defensive mechanisms. So I was very fortunate to do that. So first of all, I know the work it takes to retrofit an aircraft. It's not just like $5 million, Amy. It's hundreds of millions of dollars. So here's the other thing. I don't know if people realize it. We're getting an airplane from a foreign government, and everybody's like, oh, we're having a great time with UAE and Qatar, right? And we're doing great things. That's an enemy to us. And I just want to let you know that I don't think that aircraft will ever be used for anything official, but I do think Trump will use it for personal means when he's out. So I just want to let people know.
It's just embarrassing for our country. I think it's embarrassing. What, we can't have our own Air Force One? We're the United States freaking of America, for Christ's sake. I mean, this is ridiculous.
It is.
All right, let's get to our questions.
Yeah. Okay. So do you want to take the first one from Kaylee Gresham?
Well, I can't actually see it. So why don't you take the first
I
one
got
while
it. It says,
why I fix what I got.
How afraid should we be? Oh my goodness. Okay. Back in and I'll do really quick and I'll let you go, Amy. Back in December of 2020, in my farewell speech in Congress, I warned that fantasy and delusions could rip apart the fabric of society and we needed to be careful. And I also warned about violence based on delusions, which January 6th happened. So I gave that speech, I think, around December 10th, so about 4 weeks later. And everybody was like, oh my God. And I always said, even as you know, one of my favorite things to say is it's going to get worse before it gets worse. People are like, oh, that's pretty funny. But it has gotten worse. And I think why we should be so afraid is that we have people that are incompetent in charge. It's not just conspiracy theories. It's not just, this sort of Christian nationalism bent that we see everywhere in our government, or the evangelical fervor that Donald Trump has been ordained by God, or everything he says is right, which I get from a lot of individuals. It's the fact that stupidity is terminal. And the people that we have in charge are stupid. And stupid has bloomed as this new ignorant way of life. And if we have stupid people in charge, stupid things happen. There's a cascading effect of stupidity that creates such a catastrophic environment for us to live in, because all of this stuff that took hundreds of years to build, it's not going to come down in one day. It's going to come down brick by brick based on stupidity. And once that whole foundation is gone, the collapse isn't going to be slow. You're not going to see it. You're going to think, it is going to be slow. But for everybody out there, they're going to think it happened right now, because once the bricks, it's like Jenga. Stupidity creates a Jenga environment that you take out that one extra brick. You don't have any of those safeguards in place, and it comes down. And if you see somebody riding a horse when they in Argentina, with pictures and stuff, that's the Jenga piece that brings us down, or people like Kristi Noem. And that's how afraid we should be, is that stupidity and competence it's terminal. It's difficult to get out of it. And I just don't see us getting out of it.
Well, I'm a little bit more optimistic, and I have to be. I feel like we have to be to get through it. That and drinking lots of bourbon. But I feel like look, we're going to hurt through this time. Our country is going to hurt because what the Republicans and Donald Trump is doing is breaking government. Okay, they're breaking it. And you might think, well, maybe that's what we should do. No, that's not what we should do. Reforming is always important, but breaking, throwing our standing around the world under the bus, cuts to Medicaid are going to hurt people. It's literally people's lives. Cuts to things like FEMA is going to hurt people. We are losing our power around the world when it comes to alliances. They're breaking a lot of that stuff. That is not what worries me the most. What worries me the most are things like the value of the dollar, which is based on trust. And if we don't have a government that is perceived to be competent, I worry about that. I worry about the value of the dollar. I worry about if we ever were to have another pandemic, or God forbid, a bioweapon used against the world, really, that we don't have a competent leadership to be able to counter that. And I really worry about people's loss of trust in our government, which is, look, I mean, Denver, you've been all around the world. I've been all around the world. We have it pretty good here in the United States. We have a lot of great things. And
we do.
I mean, your wait at the DMV, it might be long. Okay, I got it. It might be long. But I'll tell you what, go to some of the places that I've been to. You'll come back and you will be like,
I'll take the DMV.
I'll take it.
I'll do it. Well, I know that it's just
All right.
insane, right? It's so. Do you want to take the next one?
Yeah,
you want to
let's
start
do
with the
the
next one with
This is
Tim?
from,
Tim
Mr.
Price,
Tim Price.
our friend Tim. Yes.
It's pretty dark stuff. So many questions. Is there a way to ensure midterms are close to fair? Fair.
Just
okay.
a little typo. Tim just had a little typo in there.
Does that mean?
Well, it's Southern, right? I think Tim's right. It's like, is it close to far?
I mean, look,
here's
how we ensure it.
Thanks, Tim.
We work our asses off. We support
Yes.
candidates around the country. Look, we have to get to the point where we invest in the government we think we should get for free. Okay, we come up with this attitude of like, well, I think we should just have ethical leaders, and I think we should just have people that vote, in the right way. No, we have to invest. You have to get behind candidates. You have to get behind races, and I feel like that's an important way to do it. Right now, that's what we should be doing.
Yeah, the best way to make midterms not fair is to disenfranchise people beforehand. You don't have a lot of this ridiculous sort of insertion of electrons right from space satellites. It really is to make sure midterms are fair. You got to fight to ensure that you don't have conventions, which conventions I think are the worst thing in the world for selecting candidates. If you're looking at the primary level, but for the main level, it's to make sure that people can vote, that are allowed to vote and legal to vote. And I think you have a lot of people trying to stop that. So I do believe, Amy, and with Tim's question, I do believe that the Democrats are going to take back the House in the midterms. I do think that, even with all the gerrymandering going on right now, I think Gavin Newsom was right. If Texas is going to gerrymander all Democrats out in Florida, California needs to gerrymander all Republicans out. This is war now. They've come out and said that's what they're going to do. So I think, Amy, and I'd love to get your opinion on that. I'm not trying to belabor this, but it seems to me that the Democrats need to get pretty mean and use some of those same tactics if they're going to be able to keep up with the way that Republicans have learned to disenfranchise voters before the election even starts.
Yeah, I think the Democrats need to be tougher. I think, we tend to have this idea that well, we'll just play it fair and things will come out, perfect for us. The Republicans don't play fair. They're using tactics that are really, really bad. I'm not suggesting that Democrats do anything illegal. But I do think Democrats need to get tougher.
I still think you need to drag an axe to a bar fight. I think you do need to get tougher. I say don't be illegal. I mean, that's not the American way, I guess, unless you're, MAGA. But I think that you definitely have to be tough, and you got to meet whatever they say with absolute, I mean, no kidding. Let's rock and roll, right? The fight doesn't start till you get somebody on the floor, Amy. And I think the Democrats need to have that attitude.
The messaging cannot be all positive. We have to go in there and show people and remind people.
Epstein should be the biggest thing in the midterms. Biggest thing. So I guess this is for you, Amy.
Okay. So this is from Kimberly. Here's my question for Amy. Is there anything I can do to convince you to run for office again? I never say never. And this is probably a question, Denver, you'd answer too. I mean, we've had a whole show on this. We had a whole show on what it's like to run for office, both you and I talking about this, the goods and the bads. And one of the things that came out of that show, which I thought was really positive, was this plea to others to step into the arena if they can, if it's right for them and their family at the time. And I think that that's true for me, and I think that it's true for you too. If it's the right time, and it's okay for your family, and it's the right thing to do for the country, then that's something that you should look at, and it's something I will look at. But I don't know that right at the moment.
So both of us have been asked to run many times, and since our fun times that we've had. And I want to tell this to Kimberly about Amy. Amy's in almost an impossible situation where she's at to run again. I am too. And a lot of that has to do, we talk about gerrymandering, we talk about all the bad things that happen with redistricting, and the fact that the majority rules. And I think with Amy, Kimberly, is that she's in not only a congressional district, but a state that leans heavily to the right. I'm in a purple state. So Amy, what is your district? R plus what? What do you
I don't even know what my current district is.
What your PBI is? It's a lot. R plus 15, R plus 20. Probably, impossible for a Democrat to, I mean, even if that individual, right, has an incredible background and a record, the far right candidate's going to win by 6 to 7, even if you have a big flip in an R plus 15. And Amy's probably there. And in the statewide, oh my God, God help Amy if she's running in a statewide, if she's running as a Dem in Kentucky, as we've seen, no matter how good her message is. And by the way, she gave Andy Barr quite a ride, right, Amy, in a district that was R heavy, right? Amy came within what, 4 or 5 points of beating Andy Barr, which means her message was solid, and people saw that 2.5. And so people saw that Amy's message was strong enough to be within 2.5 of a R heavy district. That's insane. Amy's
not that I remember.
You know, that's what you remember. You know,
look, I do think that the political winds can blow lots of different ways, and you look at every race, and every race deserves good candidates. It just has to be right for your family, and it has to be right for you to want to jump in at the time. And here's the other thing I do worry about. Well, it's Denver said it's a tough time. It's not impossible, but we'll certainly look at everything.
I'm there for you.
I'll stop.
I'll tell Kim. I know he was like, damn, I need to stop now. Well, I know we probably have some people. Amy, do you have anybody on your list that we need to salute tonight?
Well, there's a couple things that are really cool. I always want to end on a good note. The first one is Roy Cooper, right? Roy Cooper.
Oh, yeah.
He is the popular governor of North Carolina, and he jumped into that Senate race in North Carolina. And I think that's awesome. The other candidates, Democratic candidates in that race, at least one of them have already sort of dropped off and endorsed him, which is, they're kind of already coalescing now. And I just think that that's great, so cheers to him for doing that.
Cheers.
Yeah.
Oh. I don't know.
Yeah.
Like I said, I'm in a mood. I have nobody to cheers this week. And I know everybody's like, God, Dan, there has to be some good things that have happened. And I'm thinking about over the week. I'm like, what would I cheers? And, I want to cheers. You could be like, Dan, you're such a dork. I want to cheers the Ukrainian drone program.
Hey.
And so,
all right.
And I know that's probably not on our thing. I was sitting here so today I've been talking a lot of drone work with my AI company. And right now it looks like last year, I was thinking it was Jack Keane was talking about the number of drones that Ukraine made last year. I think it was 4 million. If they had proper funding, they could do 10 million drones. Drone warfare is the future. But I'm going back for a third time, Amy, and still got to talk to you about that. So going back for a third time, I'm not going to tell people when. But I'll tell you when I get back. Amy, you'll know because you're privy to secret operations. But so it's humanitarian. But the Ukrainian drone program has been incredible. And what they've done to stymie Russian forces have been incredible. So here's to the Ukrainian drone program and their research and development program and taking it into the next millennia.
Cheers.
Cheers. Amy, you got anything else?
I just want to make a plug for Unfiltered on Thursday because it's going to be the
best show ever.
A really cool show. We're going to be talking about healthcare costs going up. We're going to be talking about FEMA and everything that's going on with that. We're going to be talking about, you'll like this, Denver. Pete Hegseth saying that our military and those officers in our military can't go to any think tanks or do any public events or talk to anybody who thinks, I guess.
My God, it sounds like my church.
we're going to talk about that and why it's so bad, why that's kind of like stupid. And then we'll talk about things like the tariff deal. I put that in air quotes there with the European Union. As I watched leaders trying to defend this tariff deal, it's just like really funny to me. And so we'll talk about that.
Do you have a Planned Parenthood piece also?
I do, and that's another cheers. I could wait for Thursday, but we could talk about it today. So as you know, the Republicans in their big, bold betrayal bill that they passed had a line in there that basically cut all Medicaid funding from Planned Parenthood at all. So not just targeting one specific thing that they don't like, right? So the one specific thing that they don't like that Planned Parenthood does provide in certain locations is abortions, right?
Yes.
Well, the Republicans hate Planned Parenthood for that. So they basically want all funding to be cut to all clinics for everything that Planned Parenthood does. So there is a judge up in the Northeast. Lower courts said that was unconstitutional, that you couldn't target a parent company punishing the entire, parent
I
group
can't wait to hear this story.
or, targeting for something that you don't like. That one specific thing that you don't like. So, and I'd like to remind people, I cheers this judge because Planned Parenthood is standing to lose 200 clinics around the country, and this is devastating. This is a place that helps women with birth control, with sexually transmitted disease testing, treatment for these things, cancer screenings, and a whole host of other medical care that you may or may not get through your insurance. Planned Parenthood provides to our fellow Americans. And so cheers to the judge who said,
cheers to the judge.
No, you
and
can't
if we do
that.
talk about that, I got a pretty incredible personal story about that I think you'd be interested in.
Well, we'll talk about that on Thursday then.
You got it. This is incredible show. Thank you, Amy, again for another live. And if everybody makes sure that they subscribe to our YouTube channel, they download their favorite podcasts and follow us on our network social media channels, you'll find out that this is the best show ever done in the history of shows and podcasts. Truth in the Barrel is the best. So I hope everybody tunes in.
Yeah. Denver's kidding. It's not like Donald Trump talking about his golf wins or his 6 wars that he solved. We are a very good show. I will say that. I'm not sure about the best. I'm not.
We're the Amy. We're the best. We're taking an axe to a bar fight.
Okay.
We're the best ever, ma'am. Cheers to you. We're the best.
Cheers.
Ever.
Thanks everyone for listening in.
Amy.
We'll see you next time.